Hey, what is up guys, I'm Nabil, and today I'm going to be talking about George Hill being traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Obviously, it has not been traded yet, but there's been tons of trade rumors of him going to George Hill. It makes perfect sense for both teams to do this trade, and I mean, they've came out with reports that they're really close, and then other reports that they're not very close, so no one really knows how close they are to making this trade. I do think it will happen because I think it makes sense for the Cavs. So yeah, so without further ado, without me rambling on too much, let's get right into this video. So before I get into anything else, let's get into what the trade package itself would look like. I think the trade package would look like the Cavs would get George Hill, while the Kings got Channing Frye, Iman Shumpert, and the Cavs' second round pick. So I'm gonna get into why this trade makes sense for both teams, and the first team I'm gonna get into is the Sacramento Kings. Alright, so now let's get into why it makes sense for the Kings. So the reason I think it makes sense for the Kings that they are tied for dead last in scoring this year. Right now, they are doing awful in scoring this year. Complete, utter trash. If you showed them the ocean, they would turn it into stone. That's how broke their shots are. And yes, I know. Alright, you might be saying, well, how would this even help them in offense? Well, Channing Frye, yes, he's not going to go for 30 and become Steph Curry on you. But, I mean, he's good for 15 or 20 points per game if you give him enough playing time. Up until this year, where he's only getting 11.4 minutes per game this year, he's been averaging 9.2 points per game. And the reason he's averaging so little points is because he's averaging so little minutes per game. So if you give him more minutes, the dude could definitely be a double-digit scorer every night for you, which would be extremely, extremely helpful for them. And also as a backup, last year when he was just a backup, he was averaging 9.1 points per game and 3.9 rebounds per game. So that means if you gave this dude like 25 minutes of playing time or even 20 minutes of playing time, this dude could give you 15, 12, 13 points a game and about 6 rebounds per game. So that would help you extremely, extremely, extremely well by getting him, as you would be getting good points and everything. And also, y'all might be like, okay, well now how would that help Sacramento's defense? Because a lot of y'all might know Sacramento is awful on defense, as they are ranked dead last in that too. Vlade Divac has done a very good job on this organization, as you can see. So they are also ranked dead last in defense, which is very bad. And yes, losing George Hill, a great defensive player, would hurt a ton, but you'd be replacing that with Iman Shumpert, who would be able to pick up the slack a lot, as this dude has averaged 1.2 steals per game up until this year. He has averaged 1.2 steals per game every single year of his career. This dude has been in the league a very long time, and this year he is very close to averaging a steal per game. So this dude is extremely, extremely good lockdown defense of player, and I mean, it would be a very, very nice player to replace George Hill on that defensive end. And then you'd have De'Aaron Fox to replace George Hill, and De'Aaron Fox needs to start, as he's been playing a lot of backup, and he needs to be able to start and get those minutes and experience at starting in. So I mean, it's not like losing George Hill, you don't have a point guard to replace him. No, you have one of the best point guards in the entire draft last year, De'Aaron Fox, to back him up or now start. And then also, I mean, that second round pick they would be getting, yes, it's a second round pick, and it would probably still be a bad pick, but just think about it. The Sacramento Kings are dead last in everything. They need every pick they can get, second, first, or just a free agent. They need everything that they can get, so I don't think they would just be mad that it was a second round pick. Let's be honest, they're not getting the Brooklyn pick. That's just obvious. I mean, George Hill's not a good enough player to get him. He's a good player, but he's not great enough to get a Brooklyn pick. So anyway, so that's why I think it makes sense for the Kings. Now let's get into the other team in this trade, and that is the Cleveland Cavaliers. So although the Cavs have been playing better on defense, well, they've been playing better on defense until they played OKC, where they gave up 150 points. 150 points. How do you do that in a regular season game? Anyway, so, I mean, up until that point, they have been playing better on defense. And, I mean, they're still terrible on defense, as they are ranked 17th worst in defense, but that is much better, as they went from 29th, which is the worst in the league, to 17th. So they're improving a little bit, but they're still pretty bad on defense. And if they are able to get a player as good on defense as George Hill, he's a veteran point guard who for the past 5 years of his career has averaged 1 or more steals per game, and this year is very, very close to averaging that steal per game, and will probably get it this year. And he is a good scorer, as only 2 times in his entire career has averaged under 10 points per game for a season. Only 2 times, where in those 2 times he was only played under 40 games. So I mean, for those 2 times and only playing under 40 games, and those are the only 2 times he's ever averaged under 10 points per game, is extremely, extremely good. And he's also really, really efficient from the floor, as he was averaging 44% from 3 and 46% from the field over his entire entire career. And also, he's coming off of last year's career high in points per game, 16.9 points per game last year. This dude was an absolute beast at Utah last year. Coming off that big of a year, and that's giving him extreme confidence. So if he went to a team like Cleveland Cavaliers, who are probably going to be in the finals this year, well, that might even make him even more confident to go score. And that would then give you the guard duo of Isaiah Thomas and George Hill. And George Hill would then be able to defend people like Curry and all that. And then put Isaiah Thomas on the 2 guard, where he doesn't have to worry about having to play defense as much. You have to worry about locking down a point guard. George Hill would be a better lockdown point guard than Isaiah Thomas. So you'd have that 1-2 punch. And then, whatever they try to put around that, that's up to them. But I do think this trade makes sense. But unfortunately, that is going to be it for this video, guys. So if you did like the video, hit the like button, and also comment below. Do you think this trade will happen? Do you think this trade makes sense? Do you think the Cavs should make this trade? Do you think the Kings should make this trade? Do you think that's a good trade package? Just tell me all that. Do you think it makes sense for either one of these teams to do this trade? So comment all that below. And also, if you really like the video, want to help me out a lot, hit the subscribe button. The road to me. And also, kids, don't think about you either. Never do that. So it's always the drugs safe. Never goodbye.